So Christmas 2013, he proposed. Things moved very quickly. Had the piece aired yet?
No, but we were done shooting it. We had been done shooting it for a while, and it's sat for a long time, as you know, stories sometimes do before they actually hit the air. And this one sat for a long time. It was, I think, June of 2014 when it finally aired. It might have been April, May. But it sat for a long time, which was frustrating. I mean, we were in a difficult position. I mean, as you said, I had crossed this invisible but very important ethical line that you're not supposed to cross in journalism for a very good reason, right? You don't get involved with the source of your story because then your objectivity could go out the window. And it wasn't like I didn't struggle with that. I did. And I had actually pushed him away for a few months and said, we have to wait. We have to wait until the story airs. We can't be together. But it was just so difficult, especially in the wake of my ex-husband actually passing away. And then I had my own health scare on top of it the same year. And even all my friends and family were just like, are you crazy? This man's nuts about you. You know, he's madly in love with you. What are you waiting for? But this proposal was a surprise. And that's another, in hindsight, another red flag. Things moved very, very quickly, you know, and in the normal trajectory of a relationship, you know, things take time, right? It takes time to fall in love. But that's one similarity he does have to other con artists. Everything was on the fast track. Everything was moving at rapid fire speed. You know, he said, I love you very quickly. He was talking about marrying me very quickly, moving in very quickly, because he was in a rush. I didn't realize that, right? I just thought it was all very romantic. But so yeah, and the beauty of the proposal, because this man was so over the top with everything, you know, I'd walk into a hotel room and there'd be every time rose petals all over the floor, you know, bouquets everywhere, champagne everywhere. And the proposal was just simple. It was just me and my daughter and Paulo at home at Christmas. And he just handed me a little box without saying anything. And I had no idea it was coming, but yeah.
We actually have a bit of you talking about this in the special Bad Surgeon. Again, that's the Netflix version of Benita's story. Here it is.
Fast forward, Christmas 2013. Paulo came to stay in New York with me. It was very casual. He cooked a big, elaborate meal. He handed me this little box.
And open it.
Then I opened the box. And it's this beautiful diamond ring.
Oh my God.
I kind of froze. And then I said to him, is this what I think it is? And he just smiled and he nodded. I just, wow, you know. I was completely floored.
So he was love bombing you.
Yeah. I mean, it was a long, slow form of love bombing because we were together almost 2 years and it never stopped in the 2 years. It wasn't this sort of only love bombing you at the beginning, but the love bombing is very calculated also. Everything about this, I think, was calculated. The love bombing is designed, you know, you feel like you're in the clouds. You're floating sort of on a cloud of bliss. And it's very intentional because then you don't look at anything else. You don't question anything. It's designed to sort of put you in a haze and distract you from what's really going on.
I wonder, you know, as I watch that, I think, maybe it's just a personal preference. I'm not sure. I feel like if somebody did that to me like constantly, because I saw every voicemail was like, my love, my love. I think I'd be like, and it's a no. But would you have said that too prior to meeting him?
Yeah, 100%. That's not my style at all. And actually we did have, you know, it's interesting because not only was it always these consistent, lavish, over the top gestures, but also he was videotaping everything all the time. Like the video camera was never not on. And we had arguments about that. I said, you know, number one, I don't need all this. You don't need to do something every time we go on vacation. It's too much. You know, it's kind of embarrassing. You know, everything was a show. And also, why do you have to videotape everything? We don't have to, you know, document every moment, which now is bizarre. It was sort of like he was documenting his own demise because he left me with so much video.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Can I ask you why do you think he was doing that? Because you'd think somebody and we'll get into the details of what exactly, we know now about him while he was doing all this, but you'd think anybody who's doing something somewhat nefarious would not want it all on tape.
Which is interesting because now when I talk to women who've been conned by men, a lot of them talk about the fact that the man would never pose for a photograph with her, right? But this was exactly the opposite. I think it just goes hand in hand with the narcissistic arrogance. I think this man thought he would never get caught. And I think he got a sick thrill out of lying to people and conning people. And I just think it was part of the game.
Gosh, it's disturbing, but I think you're right. That's how it feels. So there comes a day in which he reveals to you that he's got, in addition to this amazing ability to create these, regenerative tracheas that he implants in the people who are suffering, he's got this secret client list, and he's got this secret life as VIP surgeon to the most well-known people on earth. And I have to say, I defend you on this piece of the story. I believe coming into it with this amount of press and this amount of medical professionals touting this guy, this would be believable. This is who Barack Obama might quietly see on the side, right? So give us a feel for the number of, celebs he said he was secretly catering to.
So it first came up actually right after he proposed because it was Christmas and he said he couldn't stick around for New Year's and I was not happy about it. And I kept peppering him with questions. Well, where do you have to go? And he kept saying, it's an important surgery. It's an important surgery. I'm like, come on. And finally, that's when he said, look, I have to tell you something. And of course, it was all built up with, I've never told this to anyone before. Even my ex-wife doesn't know about this and blah, blah. And he said, I'm part of a very clandestine secret network of doctors from around the world of all different specialties. And we cater to the world's most important people, famous people, dignitaries, because these people don't want their private medical life, known in public. And he told me that New Year's that he was going to take care of Hillary Clinton and that he had been taking care of the Clintons for some time and that he was friends with Bill Clinton. I thought it was ridiculous. And I said, I've never heard of anything like this. This is absurd. However, I called a friend in LA who's very connected to a lot of celebrities. And I just said, look, is this feasible? And, she said, Benita, come on. She said, you don't think these people have private personal doctors? Of course they do. They all do. They all have doctors that fly to them privately and, their private jets. They don't want everything made public. So on the one hand, it seemed absurd. And on the other, it didn't. And I understand why people who have never sort of been in these circles or don't understand this type of lifestyle would go, come on, that's not true. But I don't think it's so far from the truth, It's
not far from the truth. I don't have such a doctor in my life, though I would love one. But I know doctors as friends who get offered $250,000 to fly to Saudi Arabia and help somebody. If you have enough money, this is how you live and this is how you expect to be taken care of.
Right. So the name sort of dribbled out over time because it was all, so secretive and he wasn't supposed to be telling me, but it ended up being, all kinds of people. The Emperor of Japan, of all people, was in there. People in Russia, because he had a very, very lucrative multi-million, if not billion-dollar grant in Russia to do clinical trials in Russia. So
that was real. He did have that.
Yeah, that was real. And then all kinds of celebrities, the Obamas, the Clintons, the Sarkozys from France. I'm trying to even remember who they all were. It was a long list. And people at the Vatican, which will become very instrumental.
Credit card rewards like cash back can empower families with extra savings while they deal with the rising price of groceries and gas. But our sponsor, the Electronic Payments Coalition, says some DC politicians are partnering with corporate megastores to take the cash back rewards away from families during skyrocketing inflation. Specifically, they say the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill would take billions from American families, lining corporate pockets instead. Learn more at electronicpaymentscoalition.org and see for yourself if you want to protect credit card rewards and tell DC politicians to oppose the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. That's electronicpaymentscoalition.org. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.